Thanks for tuning into this special edition of Capitol Report. I'm Matt Swenson from House DFL Media, coming to you from the Minnesota State Capitol in St. Paul. Minnesota Department of Transportation officials were anything but forthcoming when Chair of the House Commerce and Labor Committee, Representative Joe Atkins, requested documents in June of this year concerning the long-delayed construction of the Wakota Bridge. Only half of the bridge has been finished. So Representative Atkins called a hearing of the Commerce and Labor Committee to get some answers and pressed MnDOT officials to deliver information about the project delay.
I think I speak for lots of folks that have lived their entire adult lives waiting for that to be done, had the assurance that it would, and now we see this endless delay.
3 months later, MnDOT still hasn't delivered on Atkins' request for information about the nature of construction contract disputes, cost implications of the project delay, and ultimately why the Wakota Bridge project remains unfinished.
Why not just proceed with the job? And I would point you to those figures back there, which turned out to be too low. Literally $1 million a month the Minnesota commuters and businesses are experiencing as a result of sitting there in that traffic day after day, plus the likelihood of additional costs. Steel's gone up, petroleum's gone up. Why not just get it done? The latest I've heard now is that the very earliest folks need this thing done is going to be 2011 or 2012.
Atkins calls it unacceptable that MnDOT has not faithfully performed its legally inherent responsibility to provide this important information to the public.
My specific question is, we started this 3.5 months ago, June 21st, long before any of the recent furor that's arisen. And I expressly requested for an identification of what privileged documents you were asserting were not to be disclosed. We have never gotten a response to that.
I am very sorry that it has taken us so long to get these documents to you. We were actually having meetings in MnDOT and determining what we could send of the voluminous records that we have probably about a week and a half before the I-35W bridge collapsed. We were in the process at the time of collecting those. And once that happened, in that time frame and the period after, we have received more than 80 data practices requests. And I realize that people don't feel that that's an appropriate excuse. At the present time, we have 4 to 5 people working full-time answering requests from the media and legislators and other members of the public. And we have clearly failed to provide you with all of the information that you requested, but I believe that we have given you the bulk of it.
Atkins received some documents this summer, but it became clear in the hearing that key information has been deliberately withheld from the legislature.
We have probably a box and a half of additional documents to deliver to you that we located and were delivered to me to deliver to the committee just this week. So the amount of information that we deliberately withheld from the committee, or I would say, well, deliberately withheld, amounted to 2 emails. All other information, except for that box and this privileged information, was provided to the committee, I believe, several weeks ago.
This is a committee of the House. When we make a request for documents, we expect to receive those documents. And explicitly, when we send forth a letter that says, you've asserted a privilege or said that there's documents that you will not disclose, and you know what those documents are, and asking you to identify those documents, and you either refuse or simply fail to do so, that to me is unacceptable. And now, lo and behold, this week, we find another box and a half of materials where there may well be more proprietary information, at least based on your comments. You said there's 2 items for certain, and that there may well be more within this box and a half that you've now located this week. I'm deeply concerned about what's going on in your office when you've had 3.5 months to comply to a document request and either failed or refused. You used the word deliberately, refused to share some of those documents with us.
Additionally, MnDOT officials admitted the existence of half a dozen other documents that were not initially revealed when Atkins made his request for information.
I asked for some documents to be provided, and as we've gone through the course of the day, I now have about 6 items that you guys have referred to for the first time today that either haven't been disclosed, didn't exist, were privileged but weren't told about.
In a rare move, Representative Atkins asked Commissioner Molnar whether she would be willing to accept a legislative subpoena to retrieve all the documents he requested.
Let me ask you this. Would you have any objection to the issuance of a subpoena for those records? Do you have anything that would cause you to want to avoid the issuance of a legislative subpoena? And I see the commissioner shaking her head no. You'd be okay with that?
I don't, if the law allows that to occur, other than those things that are protected by law, I don't have a problem with that. Ms. Parker is absolutely right. We've just talked about doing a better job of getting things to people timely, but believe me, many times it's thousands and thousands and thousands of documents that we have to go through, and that's what you were asking for. And so it is difficult. I'm not making excuses. I am saying that we have to, in this light, we do have to look at doing a better job, and we apologize for that.
Representative Atkins has given MnDOT officials until November 5th to deliver all the documentation available regarding the delayed progress on the Wakota Bridge, including contract disputes and the cost implications of project delay. If MnDOT does not comply with his requests, Atkins Committee will move forward with a subpoena. But more concerning information was revealed in the hearing relating to the bridge's flawed design. Atkins was surprised to find that there have only been 6 bridges of similar design to the Wakota Bridge built in the nation. Half of those bridges were found to have structural defects and cracking.
There were plans that were approved that had design flaws in them that were apparently approved by MnDOT personnel that went forward nonetheless. Why?
Mr. Chairman, we became aware of that in the summer of 2003. In the fall of, or actually it was late summer, early fall of 2003, we did ask HNTV to review their design in light of the Florida experience. It was actually September of 2004 when the cracks appeared in the bridge. So we did ask them to review that issue.
When you became aware of their similar issue in Florida with respect to the design and having cracks on that bridge, did you then take steps at MnDOT to have a further review done?
We do not have expertise in segmental design, nor the computer programs to check it. And for us to train engineers to do that for one design, maybe every decade, would just not be cost effective. So we did not have the expertise. So the answer then to your question was, we brought it to the attention of the consultant, knowing that there was issues in Florida, and asked them to check what is known as principal tension stresses. And they did check those and confirmed that those were lower than the threshold limits. And we accepted that explanation.
I understand what I'm talking about when I talk about a peer review process, whether you took the design out to a peer review. Perhaps you can explain to the committee what a peer review is and whether or not you chose to do that.
At the time, we did not. We did not take it out to a peer review. We've since done that, but we did not at that time.
This is the most significant delay, unnecessary delay I've ever witnessed. I've lived this Wakota Bridge project my entire adult life. We'd like to have a bridge we can cross before we die, just so my hearse can be driven across the eastbound span.
We'll cross the bridge when you get there.
But that's exactly what Representative Atkins and others are afraid of. Since the hearing, MnDOT has yet to release the alleged box and a half of materials to the committee, nor have they come forward with the 6 additional documents mentioned at the meeting. Representative Atkins and his committee plan to continue pursuing these documents. Atkins plans to utilize any means necessary to deliver answers for Minnesota commuters. Meanwhile, the Wakota Bridge remains Minnesota's own bridge to nowhere. I'm Matt Swenson, and thanks for tuning in to this edition of Capitol Report.